In terms of Bhagwan's body-mind, would you say that while the body-mind saw the world, it had no sense of doership or enjoyership? It seems that the self never sees the world, whether the human expression is an enlightened sage or an ignorant person.
Yes, when we say the self never sees the world, that is true in a certain sense, but also not true in a certain sense. That is, rather than talking about the self, let's talk about Bhagavan, because Bhagavan is what we actually are. Bhagavan always sees what we see. The difference is not in what he is seeing, but in what he sees it as. That is, he sees what we see as the world is what he sees as himself. What we see as many is what he sees as one. That is why in verse 18 of Ulladu Napadu, he says something that may seem surprising if we know his teachings. His teaching is that the world is unreal. But in verse 18 he says, the world is real both for those who know themselves and those who do not know themselves. That will seem to be contradicting his main teaching. But why does he say so? He makes it clear that the world is real both for those who don't have awareness, that here awareness means self-knowledge, those who don't have self-knowledge and those who do have it. But reality, for those who don't know, the reality is just to the extent of the world. In other words, it's limited to the world. Whereas for those who do know, the reality shines at the ādhara, at the base. It shines without form at the base for the world. So we see the one reality as this multitude of names and forms. What we see as this multitude of names and forms is what Bhagavan sees as the one reality. In other words, he is seeing the one reality as it is, as himself, whereas we are seeing the one reality as all this multitude of names and forms. So, is Bhagavan seeing the world or is he not seeing the world? He's not seeing it as we are seeing it. But what we are seeing, he is seeing as it is. So he's not seeing it as world, he's seeing it as the nameless and formless underlying reality, the ādhara, the ground for the appearance of all these things. So to put it in another word, he sees the screen, we see the pictures, but we're both looking at exactly the same thing. We're both ultimately seeing the same thing, but we see it as some story evolving on a screen. He sees it just as an ever-unchanging screen.